nurses. It's Lorie Brown from empowerednurses.org and yournurseattorney.com. And what do extraordinary cakes, really fancy cakes, have to do with owning a business? Well, you'll find out in today's session, and I'm really excited to announce our special guest, Laura Gasparis Vonfrolio. So Laura has been a RN for 48 years, owner of 3 companies. She's a serial entrepreneur, author of 11 books, staff nurse, staff development, tenured professor, organizer of nurses March on DC with over 35,000 nurses attending. So I'm so excited to introduce you to Laura. So welcome, Laura.
Thank you.
So can you tell us a little bit about your businesses? Can you tell us a little bit about your businesses?
Okay, my first business is that I have now is Education Enterprises. We've been in business for close to 40 years. We provide continuing education for nurses throughout the country. We also offer 2 vacations a year for nurses. This year we went to, where did we go to?
Costa Rica?
Well, we're going to Costa Rica, and I'm trying to think where we just went to. I think Punta Cana. Next year, we're going to the Bahamas, and we're going to go to Jamaica. So every year, it's a new place, a new venue, and we make it very inexpensive. And Education Enterprises also sells books and DVDs and CDs and apps to help those nurses preparing for their CCRN exam as well as their CEN exam. So that's one business. Another business is I'm a consultant. Hospitals call me and I go and present seminars at their institutions. And then my third business is a new one I just started. It's called the Teacher Alert System. I invented a product and I got it patented, and now we're going to go to manufacture, and then we're going to sell it. And matter of fact, I have it right here. This is the Teacher Alert System. It's a fob that can either be worn around your neck or maybe clipped on your belt. And it's a way for teachers to alert authorities as well as other teachers in case there's an emergency. And so that's the Teacher Alert System. And so right now, those are the 3 businesses that I have.
That's amazing. So tell me about your cake baking.
Oh, well, I bake cakes, but real fancy ones. If anyone goes to my Facebook page, you could see them. They take about 3 days to make, and I've been doing that for about 20 years. I don't charge for it, and some of the cakes go for, probably around $8,000-$10,000 if you were to buy it from a regular cake baker. But I do it free, and I just ask that whoever I bake the cake for, when they go to a supermarket, if they see an elderly person buying groceries, just pay for their groceries, and that's it. And I've been doing that for 20 years.
Yeah. So what does cake baking and being a serial entrepreneur have in common?
Creativity, taking risk. I mean, when I have to bake a cake for 480 people, the construction of that cake is a risk. And so being an entrepreneur is a risk. So they're pretty similar, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's amazing. Wow. So how did you get interested in starting your own business? I think I've always been an entrepreneur, even when I was a young kid. For example, my father was a sanitation man, and then in the night he owned a bar, and he used to store the beer downstairs in the basement. So like during the summer, I used to fill my wagon up with beer, and I used to sell it to the men who were paving streets in the area. And I used to sell it $1 a can, which was pretty good because beer at that time went for 50 cents a glass or a bottle in bars. So I made a lot of money that way. And I really never told my father until he was asking, where's all the beer that I had downstairs? And then I gave him all the money. So I've always been an entrepreneur. Wow, that's interesting. I actually collected those bottles to return to get the deposit back. So I just went to all the neighbors and got the glass bottles and took them to the grocery store. And that's how I started too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So that's really amazing. And then how did you come up with the idea for the teacher alerts?
I came up with that idea because a year and a half ago, my niece, who's 23 years old, began teaching. And it was in September. She just started. And 11 o'clock in the morning, she called me up and said, Aunt Laura, I got a real problem in the classroom. I have 12 special need children, and one of them is, having a meltdown. And I have to be in the auditorium at 11 o'clock, and it's 11:15, and he won't get off the floor, and I can't leave him. I can't drag him. I call the front office, and no one's answering the phone because they're all in the auditorium, and I don't know what to do. So I told her, I said, just, gather the children around this young boy and sing happy birthday and tell him you're going to a big event. And so she put the phone down. I heard everyone sing happy birthday. And then she said, it worked. And off she went. And later on that night, I said, what if he had a seizure? What would you have done?
Yeah.
And she had no answer. So then I came up with the teacher alert system.
I love it. Nurses are the most creative, and you see a need and you fill it. And that's what owning a business is about. It's all about seeing that need and filling it. And I'm sure with your education, the same thing. People needed nursing education and native vacation, so you combine them.
Right.
Awesome. So what is the biggest mistake that you made in your business, and how did you overcome it?
I don't know if it was a big mistake, but in the beginning when I started Education Enterprises, I, wanted to do a mailing, so I got 10,000 brochures printed. And I always noticed that on everybody else's brochure, they had a bulk permit stamp, So I just, designed a bulk permit stamp, and then I went to not the post office, but a mailbox, and I put all 10,000 brochures in there after labeling them. And then I wanted to do the seminar, but no one had registered. So I'm like, oh, what a flop. And then I got all the brochures back after the seminar. And then I learned that in order to get a bulk permit, you have to go to the post office, pay X amount of money, you get a permit number, and that's what you put on your brochure. And then you mail it out, of course, bringing it to the post office. So that was probably the only mistake that I made. Anything else, I don't see as a mistake. I see as a little hurdle to jump over, but haven't fell on my face yet.
It's all learning opportunities. And when you take the risk, you'll never know until you take that risk.
Right.
Just do it. Yeah. And so what was in your mind when you decided to start this business? What fears did you have?
I'm pretty much fearless.
Wow.
I really don't have any fears, and only because as long as you have your health and your family, what is there to fear?
Yeah. And you trusted yourself. Yeah.
I do. I think I'll always bounce back. Doing this teacher alert system is a big investment. I'm putting in over $500,000 on getting it manufactured and stuff. So it's a risk, but what's the worst thing that's going to happen? I still have my health, still have a roof over my head, and family. So it's okay.
Yeah. And it's okay to take calculated risks. And it's not like you're taking a risk in healthcare where it's a patient's life on the line. This is business, and the most you can lose is maybe some money and time, right?
This keeps on cutting out. Do you hear me right now?
I can hear you, yes. I was saying the biggest risk that you're taking is money and time. It's not a patient's life on the line.
Right, exactly.
So what advice would you have for nurses who want to leave traditional nursing roles and start their own business?
Well, I never really left when I was doing Education Enterprises. I mean, and before Education Enterprises, I had another business called CPR Associates. I really never left the bedside. CPR Associates, I started that in, I want to say 1979. I'm old. I'm almost 70. That I always remained full-time at the bedside. Even when I did Education Enterprises up until 12 years ago, I was full-time at the bedside. So, wow. Yeah, so I really, I don't know. I would, if someone's going to start a business, I would say, keep your job at the bedside and get your business going. And then back off from the bedside and go full-blown with your business, because you still have to pay your bills.
Right. And I always call it your day job, you're funding your dream job.
Right. Right.
But it's totally possible to start a business and work full time. You've done it for years.
Sure. Every woman that's a mother has done 2 full-time jobs.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So any other advice you have for a new nurse starting their own business?
Just to do it. Don't talk to too many people, because most people will be negative about it, and they'll bring you down. So if you really feel that something's going to work, just go for it. You really don't have too much to lose other than your time and a little bit of money. Just go for it. Go for it. And, if you need advice, look in the mirror and talk to yourself. Don't go be picking people's brains, because there's a lot of naysayers out there.
Oh, Laura, I am so glad you mentioned that, because that is so true. It's like people are used to dealing with you in a certain way, either as a nurse, as a coworker, or as a wife or a family member, and they don't want you to change. And they're afraid. They probably have that desire too for more, but they don't want to act on it, and nor do they want you. And they're afraid. So, find a mentor and a community of people that will support you in living your dreams, rather than, talking to the naysayers, because it doesn't work. That's great advice. Thank you.
Right.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to share?
No, if anyone is listening, I have a CD called Making $1 Million in Nursing, and they're more than welcome to have this free. They can just call my office. It's 1-800-331-6534, and just request a copy, and we'll mail it out to them.
Oh, that's super generous. And we'll also put a link in next to our video as well. And thank you so much, because it is so entirely possible to make way more than you can imagine in your own business. And obviously you're putting $500,000 into your teacher alert thing, which is amazing. I think it's going to help so many people and help teachers feel so much more secure in being in their classrooms when they have access.
It will. Yeah, we queried 4,000 teachers, and everybody but one really wanted it. Most teachers now have an app on their phone called Panic. So if there's an emergency, they, have to get their pocketbook, get their phone, turn their phone on, press the button, hope that they have Wi-Fi or cellular, and then, get in touch. With our teacher alert system, you just press the ambulance button, and it connects you directly to the ambulance. And it works on Wi-Fi, cellular, as well as satellite. If you need the police, you press the police button, and again, it goes directly to the police department. If there's an emergency, such as an active shooter, you press another button, and it alerts every teacher, it alerts all fire department, the police department, the ambulance, and you don't have to ever worry about not having a connection.
So I love what you did in terms of your homework. You did market research to make sure it was a market match that I think nurses can use that as well. And then you also did, you have a graph of the benefits of using the teacher alert versus the other systems out there.
Right.
So what I want to bring up to our viewers is that it's really important to do your market research to make sure there's a need for your product, but also you can, there's two ways to do a product. One is a new idea, a new invention, or two is taking a product and making it better. And that's what you've done. You've taken that Panic app and made it better.
Right. Right.
So that's awesome.
Right.
Well, I wish you the best of success with that. And I
thank you
so much for all you do for nurses, all the education that you do. I know you're very helpful in helping people get certified. Registered nurse, that's one of your part of your educational enterprises as well. And again, thank you for all you do for nurses, because you've been around for a long time, but look at the impact you've made for the nurses out there, and now all the teachers. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Sure. And I hope that you take advantage of her free CD, and you'll get the information next to this program. And I'll end with, if you dream it, you can achieve it. Laura dreamed that she can help nurses, and then she dreamed she can help teachers as well. And she's invested her heart and soul in it. But if you do your homework properly, it'll come back in rewards, and it helps a lot of people in the time. So thank you again. Bye, everybody. Bye.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.